incredibly enjoyable, filled with ready-to-eat foods and sweets. Nefertima asks her older sister, Karina, to teach her how to spend money. Karina agrees to educate her, explaining that the smallest currency unit is the ray, equivalent to 10 copper spikes, and a drink at the stall costs 8 rays. She also mentions that a coffee session at the cafe is around 3 copper spikes. Nefertima understands, counting on her fingers, and gets ready for shopping. As they explore, Nefertima feels like she's in a lively and exciting place. She requests 3 portions of turkey from a cook, who informs her that they serve the finest turkey in the world. The cook then asks for 3 copper spikes, and Nefertima happily hands over the money. She receives the chicken she ordered and returns to her sister, Karina, feeling triumphant about her successful shopping trip. Nefertima then distributes the chicken among her sister and Paul, who express their gratitude. She playfully sprinkles Paul with some flour to make him carry her items, and they all share a laugh. Afterwards, she gives a piece of chicken to her dog as a special reward for his birthday. Following that, Nefertima catches a delightful aroma and follows it to a bakery. There, she discovers a delicious pastry called Baby, made by a baker who fries the dough until it puffs up. Excited, she asks the baker for 3 pieces, but the baker suggests buying 20 and adds 3 more as a bonus. Nefertima happily agrees, and the baker informs her that the total cost is 1 copper spike. Nefertima hands over the money, receives her pastries, and continues her joyful shopping adventure. After that, Nefertima goes to her sister, and her sister asks her about what she will do with all those sweets. Nefertima explains that she bought some for her father, mother, and everyone in the house. Her sister, Karina, embraces her because she is a very sweet little girl. Then, they all go to a tavern. Karina asks Nefertima to enter and sit for a while. When they enter, Karina meets 3 of her friends. One of them greets Karina and expresses surprise at meeting her here. Karina explains that she was shopping with her sister. The girl looks at Nefertima and comments that it must be challenging to have a sister who is a failure and lacks any magical abilities, not resembling her father at all, and having scary black eyes. Guy responds, questioning what she means by that. Karina defends her sister, saying that no one appreciates the beauty of her little sister, especially noble people. Insulting someone you meet for the first time is not fitting for the manners of a noble lady. She advises her not to tarnish the reputation of her honorable family. They decide to leave and see Nima and her sister. Karina suggests that Nefertima must be exhausted and needs to rest. Nima replies that she slept in the carriage, so she's fine. In her thoughts, Nima reflects on the encounter with the annoying girl at the cafe and how her sister was wonderful. Nima enters her room and is surprised to find her family and friends gathered to celebrate her birthday. Her father reveals that they kept it a secret to surprise her. Nima is overwhelmed with joy, thanking them for the surprise. They proceed to have a meal and celebrate. The princess, Ali, calls her and gives her a gift from both the princess and the king. Nima opens the gift, finding a necklace with a powerful magical stone inside. The king mentions that she needs a specific enchantment to use it. Then, a boy arrives and asks them what is happening. He gives Nima a bracelet, saying, "Unlike my parents' gift, this will protect you. Always remember to wear it." Another girl appears, saying, "I bought you clothes, a hat, and shoes that have been modified for you to wear when you grow up." Everyone in the place gives her gifts. San, the small bird, gives her a young hawk named Rain Falcon, claiming it to be the smartest and strongest born in the season. Nima asks if she can take care of it, and San responds that she will raise it in the house because Nima showed great interest in Galai's hawks that day. Galai's hawks are still too big for her, so take care of Rain Falcon instead. Nima expresses her gratitude for all the gifts, saying it was the best birthday present. The scene then shifts to the night, where Nima says it was a very enjoyable day with many people celebrating her birthday. She looks at the bird and says, "I'll name you Nox, and from now on, we'll be friends." Every time I'm playing with her bird Nox. She calls him, and he perches on her arm. Then we see Dan, who tells Nevertimer that birds of a feather flock together and informs Lies that he knew Nevertimer was training the bird Nox, but didn't expect her to progress this far. Nevertimer always surprises him. Lies suggests that they make Nox fly farther tomorrow. Nevertimer agrees, but the sadness on her face is evident. Dan asks Nevertimer what's wrong, and she reveals that she might not be able to come as often now as she needs to focus on study. The scene transitions to Nevertimer in her room, where Margus enters and informs her that she has brought the teacher who will instruct her from now on. The teacher introduces herself as Anlai Diasa. Nevertimer is impressed by her elegance, considering her attire and hair, which resembles a complete artistic masterpiece. Margus leaves to prepare some tea, and Anli informs Nevertimer that they must first work on improving her way of speaking. Anli knows from the head servant Margus that Nevertimer addresses her parents as Mama and Papa. Nevertimer shakes her head, and Anli hits her, expressing disappointment that Nevertimer didn't react more appropriately. We see Margus entering the room again, saying that they seem to be getting along well. Anli expresses confidence that they will become close friends, and never talks to herself, asserting that this teacher is undoubtedly her enemy. Anli then proceeds to strike Nevertimer multiple times, stating that she has a bad attitude and advising her to always maintain composure. After the lesson, Anli asks Nevertimer what she will say at the end of the lesson next time. Nevertimer responds with a simple present. Anli acknowledges that Nevertimer is learning the basics, but mentions that there is still much to teach. She reveals that she taught Ralphie Sama and Karnadia Sama, both talented students, and she intends to transform Nevertimer into a proper lady like them. Then the scene shifts to Nevertimer sitting on her bed with a bird, knocks next to her. She appears tired and expresses frustration, stating that the teacher is very annoying. She finds it impossible to believe that Anli treated Ralph and Karn in the same way, convinced that Anli is mocking her. Nevertimer is confident that her father will take care of the situation once she informs him. She decides not to let Anli win. In the morning, we see Nevertimer with the teacher, and Anli scolds her for being late again. Nevertimer smiles, thanking Anli for her guidance and promising to be more careful in the future. Nevertimer then speaks to herself, warning not to underestimate the fake smiles and flattery she learned in her past. Anli continues the lesson, focusing on history. At night, Nevertimer leaves dinner, and her father is concerned about her unusual behavior, noticing that she didn't eat well. Nevertimer's mother suggests calling a doctor to examine her if she doesn't feel well. Nevertimer, afraid of doctors, reassures her mother that she is fine and there's no need for a doctor. However, her mother insists on calling the doctor as a precaution. Nevertimer panics, and her mother tells her to stay put while she goes to call the doctor. When alone, Nevertimer's mother follows her and advises her to tell the doctor if something is wrong. Nevertimer protests, saying she's fine, but her mother insists as a precaution. Nevertimer screams and runs away, expressing her fear of doctors. However, her brother Raph uses his magic to hold her in place. Nevertimer gets angry at Raph for using magic in such a way, finding it unjust. Raph asks her to think of something to tell their mother. Nevertimer looks ahead and sees her mother approaching. She tells her mother that everything is fine, but in her mind, she believes that if her mother catches her, she won't let her leave until she reveals the truth about Anli. Suddenly, Raph releases his hold on her, and Nevertimer gets very angry at him for what he did. She doesn't think it's fair to use magic in such a situation. Raph asks her to think about something to tell their mother about Anli, and Nevertimer reluctantly agrees, realizing she can't handle her problems on her own. Then her mother spoke, stating that Nevertimer should have consulted them since she can't handle her problems alone. The girl responded that if she told her mother anything about the teacher, she would be permanently expelled. Her mother affirmed that she would indeed do so, and then asked if Nevertimer had a strategy to defeat Anli. She explained that Anli is known as a perfect lady, and Nevertimer will outshine her in politeness. If she challenges her, it must be on Anli's terms, or she won't stand a chance. Her mother advised her to learn everything she can from Anli, as she needs to understand her opponent first. Nevertimer realizes that her mother wants her to make Anli confess to her misdeeds. Nevertimer then investigated her but found nothing worrisome. However, some of her relatives were devoted believers in a troublesome church. Neema was shocked when she recalled the troublesome monks from that church. She found the church very annoying, continuously talking about things that shouldn't exist. Now, she understood the strange feeling that had come. Then comes the time for Neema's lessons, where the teacher talks to her about the kingdom of Gashi, surrounded by several countries, each with a different climate. Neema mentions that she heard about the city of Ikokoko in the southwest suffering from drought, impacting crops and causing food shortages. The neighboring countries sought help from the church, and ultimately their kingdom, along with 2 other states, decided to provide assistance. The teacher then inquires about the Church of Creation, questioning why they don't help in such matters. Neema, aware of Akoko's severe situation, believes they should help. Upon hearing this, the teacher becomes visibly tense and reveals that Ikokoko has committed many wrongs, and the church refuses to assist them because they are wicked. Neema questions how the teacher can be certain that the drought is a punishment from the heavens. The teacher explains that their priests informed them of this, but Neema disagrees, stating that all creatures are creations of the same one God, and there's no meaning in punishing them. The teacher counters, describing Akokoko as a savage state harboring monstrous individuals, and nobody knows what they might do next. Neema now understands the teacher's perspective. Then she asks if the teacher has met anyone, or any monstrous person from that country, to which the teacher responds with a firm no. It is truly terrifying. Neema reflects to get close to them. Neema thought to herself that the condescending arrogance stemming from blind adherence to beliefs was beyond her imagination. She then spoke to Anlai, expressing her disbelief that someone like her could be so audacious as to be biased against her. Neema told Anlai that this wasn't teaching. It was just violence driven by her anger at Neema's insult. She didn't want to become a despicable person who despises those she has never met. Neema asked if Anlai was trying to imply that this perspective is the right one for a noble lady, as the Duke Osby's daughter. Anlai advised her to bow her head in response. Neema disagreed, stating that the purpose of the conversation was to deepen their understanding of each other. Anlai left in frustration and Neema rejoiced, considering it a victory. The scene then shifted to Neema's room, where she spoke with her bird Knox, expressed that Neema's father noticed a mark on her cheek and became very angry at Anlai. But Neema insisted he not interfere as it was her problem. She only warned Anlai. Neema heard that Anlai apologized to her father, requesting to continue as her teacher. Later, Neema mentioned that her teaching sessions had reduced, and she began teaching a variety of things alongside etiquette. These lessons were enjoyable. The scene then transitioned to Neema with a horse, and her father informed her that their family was responsible for the northern territories of the Gashi kingdom. He proposed taking her to check the situation there since her schedule had become less dense. Excited, Neema agreed, mentioning her anticipation of encountering many fluffy animals in the park. They used a spell for long-distance travel, and upon arrival, Arnos welcomed them, expressing his pleasure at their visit to the distant place. Neema then introduced herself, and Arnos assured her they had prepared a carriage for her. Overjoyed, Neema was surprised to see snow, something she had never witnessed in this world. Neferthima was overjoyed at the sight of the snow, which brings joy to the hearts. Suddenly, she froze as snow covered her completely. Her father aided her with a magical spell, warming her body so that she no longer felt the cold. He then told her that she couldn't escape like that as the weather here was different from the capital. She needed to wear heavy clothes suitable for the cold. When she put on the heavy clothes, she felt warmth and joy, and her father was pleased with how she looked in them. He informed her that they would travel to their destination by carriage, aiming to reach it by nightfall. They boarded the carriage, and Neferthima looked out of the window in sheer delight at the snow. After getting out and playing in the snow with her father, they continued their journey. Her father explained that the northern territories consisted of mountain ranges, and although the weather was cold, it didn't hinder trade. The mountains provided them with wood, and dairy farms thrived in the plains. As they approached the capital, winter crops resilient to the freezing weather became visible. Neferthima compared the place to Hokkaido or the Tohoku region and hoped to find many delicious things and rare creatures. In the evening, they reached their destination, where the man thanked her father and welcomed them. He considered her father the pillar of their town and expressed gratitude for their hospitality. Neferthima suddenly noticed that the snow didn't clump together in this place. In the evening, Neferthima enjoyed a delicious meal and requested more. A lady offered to prepare canned lunch for her the next day, surprising Nefertima. Later, her father informed her that they would enter the forest the next day, which had become extremely dangerous due to increased monster attacks. The knights were dispatched, but their numbers were insufficient. They planned to establish a military base for the knights and wanted Nefertima to be a mediator with the fire dragon. Nefertima was astonished by this and asked her father, "Are you going to ask the fire dragon to eliminate all the monsters here?" In her thoughts, she feared that the entire forest might burn down. Her father reassured her, stating that he was confident the dragon had valuable information and was hoping for some guidance. Nefertima agreed, thinking that she could inquire about it when they meet the dragon. She called to Sol, the fire dragon, and informed him that her father had accompanied her on a tour to the northern area. She mentioned the recent increase in monster attacks and asked if he knew anything about it. Sol, curious about their specific location, inquired about the Guild of Gelfa. When Nefertima told Sol that they were in the Frost Needle Forest, the dragon immediately recognized the place. Surprised, Nefertima asked why there shouldn't be any monsters in the Frost Needle Forest. Sol confirmed that according to him, there shouldn't be any monsters there. Nefertima conveyed Sol's words to her father, and they decided to investigate further. Sol mentioned that most reports indicated the presence of imps, kobolds, and, in extremely rare cases, frost spiders. When Nefertima asked about the reason, Sol suggested that imps and kobolds should typically reside in the far south, and the presence of these creatures might be due to overpopulation. The peculiar child with yellow hair present in the group also added to the curiosity, expressing surprise at the gathering of reports from the area. Nefertima's father suggested that the possibility of human interference was low but still present, speculating that someone might have gathered these monsters here. Suddenly, he stood up, struck the table, and declared there's no point in sitting around and pondering. We'll head to the forest tomorrow morning. Let's find out the secret behind these monsters. The episode concludes with Nefertima's father urging everyone to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell for updates on the next episode. Our episode begins with Nefertima preparing to head into the forest. She carries a rather big bag, a detective amulet, and the knife she received on her birthday. These items are neatly packed in a rabbit bag. Suddenly, the bird Knox arrives and perches on Nefertima's arm. He informs Knox that he will be their guardian in the forest. The group, now ready, stands at the edge of the forest. Their leader warns them to be cautious, as they never know when they might encounter the monsters. The scene shifts to everyone entering the forest. The elder mentions that he was involved in this area for decades, but never saw anything like the current situation. Nefertima realizes the depth of the forest and looks to Knox for reassurance that he's watching over them from above. They reach a specific drink and decide to take a break, having some lunch prepared by the elder. Suddenly, they hear movement in the crops, and a soldier quickly draws his sword, cutting down a tree. But to their surprise, a beautiful rabbit emerges, frightened. The soldier reassures them that it's just a rabbit and urges them to relax. Nefertima approaches the rabbit, asking if it's okay, but it remains motionless. Suddenly, the rabbit moves away, leaving Nefertima sad. The soldier explains that they are here not to exterminate monsters, but to avoid them, as the scent of blood attracts these creatures. Feels compelled to search for the injured rabbit. She races into the forest, apologizing for scaring the rabbit and acknowledging asks if Nevertima will go alone, warning her of the danger. Nevertima assures them she'll be fine and promises to return quickly. As she sneaks behind the wall, she unexpectedly encounters the imp. Both are startled, and Nevertima apologizes for startling him. She asks if there's any edible food in the cave. The imp, understanding her gestures, offers her a fruit. Nevertima takes it, unsure if it's safe to eat. She tastes it and screams due to its extreme bitterness, feeling a prickling sensation on her tongue. So the monster takes it back, peels it with his hands, and hands it to her again. Nevertima hesitates, takes another bite, and discovers that it's exceptionally sweet. She asks for more, and the imp hands her a bag full of the fruit. Nevertima, now peeling the fruit, is watched by all the monsters who seem amused by her actions. It was in a heartwarming moment. Nevertima shares the fruit with the monsters, and they all appear to be friends. Nevertima realizes that these monsters are in danger, and she doesn't want to witness any harm befalling them at the hands of humans. Terrified, Nevertima knows her father will come for her, but suspects he may not listen to her. She addresses the imps, asking why they all live in this place. One of the imps responds, but Nevertima doesn't understand, apologizing for her lack of comprehension. She then hears a noise from behind, thinking it's her father, but to her surprise, it's a much larger impy, the apparent leader. Frightened, she screams loudly due to its massive size. As the imp leader communicates with the others, questioning why the human girl is in this place. Nevertima, shocked to hear it speaking her language, realizes he is their leader. The leader scolds his subordinates for abducting anyone, reminding them not to do it again. He was after them, interrupts, expressing her understanding that he is their leader. She asks to speak with him and inquires about why they abduct children like her. The leader explains that it's their nature, but they take care of the human children instead of harming them. Nevertima comprehends their protective nature even towards human children. She then questions why they attack humans, and the imp leader cryptically replies that it's for survival. Perplexed, Nevertima asks for clarification, and he elaborates that they were driven out of their previous habitat by humans who also expelled kobolds, orcs, and goblins. Nevertima is saddened by the humans' actions, realizing the consequences of their cruelty. The imp leader informs her that the humans relentlessly pursue them, forcing them to flee to the north. Many of their kind perished due to weakness and inability to withstand the cold. Nevertima, pathetic, decides to tell her father about these events. However, she doesn't know what to do with the imps, feeling compelled to help them. She asks the imp leader about their intentions now, whether they seek revenge against humans or not. The imp leader expresses their desire to return to their previous lives, hunting alongside animals and monsters in the forest. Nevertima, however, senses a predatory undertone in the way they speak, realizing that the imps are essentially predators. She contemplates whether their coexistence with other displaced creatures in the same place could upset the environmental balance. Mr. discusses this idea with the imp leader privately, suggesting that they could make a pact for all creatures, including the imps and other displaced beings, to live together. The imp leader finds